Hello everyone, this is Engage UK back again, and this time I'm going to do something I promised to do quite a long time ago when I first launched the channel, and that's have a quick look at the different types of track that are available to the UK Outline Engage modeler. Now obviously there are other types of track available, in particular Kato and Tomix in Japan do track. Their track is clip track, especially designed to be put up and taken back down again regularly, so it's very robust. It has ballast built in, so that's quite a robust, user-friendly type of track, but possibly not the best for building a permanent layout where you're going to do a little bit more work in it. Likewise, Fleischmann do Fleischmann Piccolo track, which again has an inbuilt roadbed. But again, possibly not the first choice for someone who's going to build a layout and wants to ballast it, wants to weather the track, wants to do all those things to make it look really realistic. Now, as you're probably well aware, the main manufacturers of track in the UK are Pico. They've held that position for very many years. There are advantages and disadvantages to that. Everyone's aware of their existence, and that they're the people who have the widest range of track available, but it also means that they have tended to slightly rest on their laurels in the last 5 or 10 years, particularly as there's been a massive improvement in the quality of rolling stock, locomotives, wagons, whatever, things like this Dapple ferry wagon, to get the reflections off that, that's way ahead of the kind of rolling stock that was available 10 or 15 years ago. The track really hasn't changed. It hasn't kept up with that pace of progress, and people are now starting to look elsewhere for something a little bit more realistic, a little bit something that's just going to match the quality of the models that you're trying to run on this track. But let's have a look at the Pico track first of all. Now, they do 3 variants of track. The simplest and easiest, and possibly the one that people are most familiar with, if they've had an old 00 set in their youth or whatever, is called set track, and it's like this. This isn't actually Pico set track, this is from the Graham Farish train sets, but it's exactly the same. It's compatible with set track. It comes in various straights, various radius curves. They're fixed, they're not flexible, you can't change the radius of these curves, and they simply clip together. Now their set track is code 80, so a quick explanation of what this means, because a couple of people have asked me, because I keep saying on my videos, oh, I've got that locomotive on code 40 track, or it's sitting on code 55 track. Well, the 40, the 55, the 80, it actually really should be 0.080 because that is how many fractions of an inch in height the rail is. So this is code 80, or 0.080. In thousandths of an inch, that means that's 80 thousandths of an inch high. In other words, it's nearly 1/10 of an inch high, so you can do your metric calculation on that. It's going to be cut just over 2 millimeters high, that track. The other code that Pico do is code 55, so in other words 0.055 thousandths of an inch, and later we're going to be looking at something that's even finer. It's code 40.040, and that's a 2 millimeter fine scale track called Easitrac, which is what I like to use to show off models. But we'll leave that till last. Going back to the set track, as I say, it's 0.080 high. It's fixed. They do the curves and the straights. There aren't really a lot of different combinations available. There are three radiuses of curves in the catalogue. I think they've just started to bring out the 4th radius curves. Number 1 radius is 9 inch, number 2 is 10 3/8, number 3 is 11 3/4. So you can see what the distances are. That would mean that fourth radius rather would be I think 12.5, if my maths is right, radius curves. So they're quite tight curves. As I say, they're fixed, they clip together. The rail height is unrealistically high. The other issue with them is that the sleepers are not the correct spacing, and they're also much higher than the scale height they should be. Yeah, those sleepers are probably a couple of mil, just over 2 mil high. Well, that's a foot in N gauge, and if you go out and look at your railway out in the real world, you'll see that the sleepers are not a foot high. The other restrictions on the set track is that they only do one size turnout. They do a left-hand turnout and a right-hand turnout, but only one size. They do the various lengths of straight and curves, and they also do one crossover. They also only do Inselfrog points in the set track. To explain what that is, the difference between Inselfrog and Electrofrog, we're going to do a different video at another later date. At the moment we're just looking at the track types. So that restricts you. If you want really good slow running, Electrofrog points are better, for reasons I'll explain in another video. So that's the set track, it's code 80. Now the second variant they do is also code 80. It has the same rail height and the same sleeper size and everything else, but it's called streamline. First thing they do differently in the streamline is they do Easitrac, which you can't get in code 80. In set track, everything is non-flexible. So they do meter lengths of this kind of code 80 stuff, but it's flexible. They do it the lengths in wooden and concrete sleeper variants. So if you're modelling a modern image and you want concrete sleeper track, you can go for that. They do a much bigger selection of points. First of all, they do different sizes of points, so short points, medium points, long points. They do crossovers, they do wide points rather than just right and left points. They do catch points as well, which if you're not familiar with those, they go near sidings to prevent rolling stock rolling back onto a main line. And they also do things like slips and crossovers. So a much bigger selection of track variants available in the code 80 streamline, but still rail height unprototypically high, sleepers again unprototypically thick, and also the spacing is slightly too close together.